that relativity can be assumed to be exact. In other words, gravity is assumed to be completely absent. From this point of view, special relativity and all its consequences may be derived from a single simple postulate. In the presence of gravity, however, the approximate nature of special relativity may manifest itself. So the principle of equivalence is invoked to determine how matter responds.
Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to 2016. I wanted to show you this screen before we actually get to the lifting stuff because you need to know what I'm talking about. You're normally going to see this at the end of the videos coming this year to see how my progress towards my goals has been going. So now that you've had a chance to read this, on to the good stuff. Alright, so number one goal for this year is to not get injured, and obviously that's slightly out of my hands. However, I am going to take some action to try and prevent that. The main two things I'm going to do is to focus on always doing a warm-up before starting the lifting session and finishing with stretching. Now, I used to do that quite regularly, but I eventually had gotten out of the habit of doing it. And I think that getting out of that habit has actually caused a couple little issues, but just getting back into it this week seems to be helping. And the issue I am thinking of in particular is my right hip hurts a little bit when I squat. That actually started up when I was lifting in Texas doing leg presses, and I was like, that's not feeling so good. But like I said, the initial week of the stretching seems to have helped that. As you also may recall, last year I had some kind of abdominal / diaphragm injury that kept me out of action for, I don't know, I think it was like 6 weeks or so. And in order to try and remedy that, I'm going to also commit to working abdominals, both for, like I said, hopefully injury prevention, but also some vanity there, because I have listed my goal as L Reyes abs, and for those of you who don't know, the reference there is actually there was a kid on my cross country and track team in high school by that name who had like pretty ridiculously developed abdominals, and so I'm thinking I'd like to get mine looking as good, if not better, because mine look good when I get lean, but they're flat. They don't have a lot of super deep separation in between each ab. You know what I'm saying? It's more like they look good as a whole once I get the fat off, but not like not what I would describe as super duper shredded. The next thing I have on my list is to focus on my metabolic health. Basically, that means I'll be counting my calories as I have been, through both my weight loss diet and my quote-unquote reverse diet. I'm now just going to refer to it as metabolic health attention because I will be pushing calories up. I think I'm just going to go like 5 grams of carbs each week, basically until I get to 130 pounds. That is 59 kilos, maybe 60 kilos as well, 132. We'll see how I'm feeling at the time. I don't have any serious plans right now to do any dieting this year outside of potentially a very brief 5 or 6 week thing, just to peel off some body fat real quick if things get out of control. But this week I weighed in. My baseline starting this year is like, and you'll see later on the screen, it's like 124 and change, and so I got like a long way to go before we get to that. Also, as you guys may have noticed, I am very fond of and have had good success doing the one-legged pistol squats. So I've decided that I want to try and master the one-arm push-up as well, and I'm expecting that I would get some benefits to my bench press from that. And to that end, I've added doing one-arm push-ups into my warm-up routine. So we'll see how that goes. I think I have a decent idea for how to progress This week, I basically just did 2 sets of 2 one-arm push-ups each day of the week during the warm-up, and I'll try to push that up, either push up reps or take the off arm and like move it farther away from my center of gravity to put more pressure on the single arm that is working. So it's gone well this first week, but I'll keep working on that, and hopefully by the end of the year we can actually do a real one. Next goal I have in mind is I would like to be throwing at least my body weight, if not a bit more, over my head. And so I've added Olympic lifting style push pressing. I like to call it jerking, just because that's funny to say. I can talk about jerks when I'm making my videos this year. Yeah, I know that's 12 years old, but whatever. And so is this. Happy Hump Day. Yeah, I know, that's funny too. But anyway, so each day of the week I will have some overhead work, with 4 of the 6 days being a jerk style, and so I can handle more weight on the negative part of the lift than I have been before, and hopefully that gives my shoulders more work and improves them greatly. And the final goal I have on the list for this year is to break some PRs. Nothing says you're making progress better than breaking personal records, and the chart that I have that has my current personal records, all those were set at a body weight of over 140 pounds. And so if I can break some of those at a body weight of like between 124 like I am now and like 130, 132, which I may get to at some point this year, that would be a huge improvement. Especially like if I can break like the bench PR at such a significantly lower body weight. Something that I've added in that I was not doing at the end of last year is pull-ups. And so when you see my volume numbers in a moment here, that is including pull-ups. So I just want to make sure that's not apples to apples from last year, because we're already getting close to 100,000 pounds in a week. And this is actually going to be the lowest volume week because my percentages this week were 80 and 90. I'll talk about that more, I think, next week, how I'm running that. But suffice to say, when the week has 70 and 80, that's going to be the highest. So, in this week's volume update, like I mentioned, the back entry includes chin-ups where it did not last year, and you can see like how ridiculous that becomes. So now it's like deadlifts and chin-ups, and I do chin-ups every day. So that's quite a bit of increase from how we were counting it last year. And a quick metabolic update. While I was away for the 6 weeks, I managed to push up quite a bit. I think about 200 calories per day or so. So this week I was just getting reset to baseline for this year at 300 carb, 140 protein, and 100 fat for a total of 2660 calories per day. And like I mentioned, I'm going to be pushing up like 5 grams of carbs per week, I think pretty much regardless. So next week we're going for 305, 140, 100 for a total of 2680 per day. All right, people. Well, once again, Happy New Year and welcome back, and we'll see you next week.